Dr. Robert Morse, thank you for joining me. For anybody that doesn't know, Dr. Morse, probably I know I speak for many, many thousands of people. One of the greatest healers of our time. He's developed, it's true, developed regenerative detoxification, health programs, iridology, just so many things that you've really given so many people um, their health back. You really
Thanks.
have. And
Thanks. Been fun.
do you know, I think 8 years ago, I came to Florida to one of your seminars. And, I've been skeptical of the Matrix for a long time. But then you see people and right? You know that you're right. You know that they're suppressing symptoms, all of that kind of stuff. But then you see people, hundreds of people that are there, and most of them wanted just to thank you because they were there to learn, but most of them I met anyway, they wanted to thank you. And it was really, I don't know, it was touching. It was touching.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk to not Dr. Morse. Today we're going to talk to Robert.
Ooh, scary.
We we went out on social media and we asked lots of people, all people that have been following you for a long time, and even the new people. We've asked them, what would you like to find out about Robert? Anything not detox related. What makes you tick? What color socks do you wear? All that kind of stuff. So, a question from me before we begin, and that is that I've heard you say over the years that you grew up on a dairy farm, and you're doing the dairy thing. I'd like to know at what point in your life, what was the point when you thought to yourself, I'm going to focus on health?
Well, my uncle was a dairy farmer. We had two farms. Uh, for the longest time, we had cattle, and then we went had a guy on it for hogs. We actually lived on a like 5, 6, 7 acres on top of this hill overlooking this small little town. And this little town is nestled in the hills of Indiana. It was a famous artist community. But my grandfather, I was raised by my grandfather because I didn't. My biological father took a hike out, but he was very. I mean, this guy didn't make it through grade school farming. Back in the day when the man died, the kids took over. And so he never had any schooling or anything. But he owned a Chrysler dealership, apartment complexes. He owned a lot of things that uh, kept everybody always busy. And we had farms that we ran them, but we had someone on sharing the crop stuff. So we built the barns, we built the fences, we did all the hard labor, and then we had Christmas trees. And I mean, this farming is a lot of work. And then we had horses at our house. And when I don't know, I was 7 or 8, I'd hitch up the horse with a cart and then deliver newspapers.
Wow.
And then I had a yard mowing business on top of that one. So it was raised in a family of strictness. My grandmother was a school teacher, uh, and she would go pick up the kids in a bus, take them to school, bus 1 through 12, teach them, and bus them home again. So she was one of those don't take no crap. You cuss, you get your mouth washed out with soap, that sort of thing. Proper etiquette. She was the daughter of a veterinarian. So they were raised with a little more etiquette and things like that, of course. But so I was raised with my mom and my sister and me in one house, which was a artist studio, paint studio converted to a little house. And then my grandparents lived next door, right across a little lane in the main house. So I grew up that way, but always working, just work, 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 work.
And
So
what
when I got, yeah, I don't know, but I always had this need to know the unknown. I want to know what's the darkness, what's behind that. I want to know truth.
And was anybody else around you, your family, into that?
No,
Wow, that was
no.
interesting.
I was a musician. So my mom had a piano, so we were had to sit an hour every day and play the piano. And then I had trumpet and band. Then I had, I was a 12 string and a organ player and my band. And so we were heavily into music. So when I wasn't working, I was music,
Wow.
except when you find the girls. Yeah, I married my high school sweetheart, so to speak.
Oh, how lovely.
Mhm.
Okay, let me get to the first question. So the first question, you'll remember, this is Tom. Tom, the bald guy on the Zooms. I'm sure he
Oh,
won't mind
Tom,
me saying.
Tom.
So Tom would like to ask you, if you could go anywhere in time and place, backwards or forwards, where would you go and why?
That's interesting. Tom, I'm not a time man. Better question is, let me go outside of time. That's where my home is, your home is, everybody's home's outside of time. Time is the playground. And I'm sent everywhere. I've got images of everywhere. So I really don't have any place in creation, except there are some beautiful, beautiful places that you can go where, believe it or not, trees and plants are jewels, emanating colors like jewels. And there's the thousand petal lotus of the astral, top of the astral world that we used to take people to it. Uh, Very nirvanic. It is the powerhouse of the astral and the physical worlds, has every color and power you can imagine coming out of it. It's where they get the thousand petal lotus. And that's a beautiful place to go and see. But consciousness is the most nirvanic, deep state of aloneness you could possibly ever imagine, but it is home. So traveling is traveling. I've traveled a lot of beautiful cities and places in different dimensions and times, but nothing like being home.
I remember you saying that you went to, was it the south? Was it southern France? And you were asking, you were
Oh,
saying, "Where's Walmart?" Was it?
yeah. I stayed with Shania Twain for a few weeks, and I love all humans,
Yeah,
but French people tend to be like this. We
yeah.
couldn't get anybody to hardly talk to us. And then we tried to catch it. Which train do we take? Nobody would even talk to us hardly. We finally found the train and we were running with our baggage to get on the train because it's fast train from north to the south.
Yeah, right.
It was like, oh man. I think Portugal has the their people are so incredibly great. I love the Portuguese people. Had a clinic there for a number of years in Lisbon. Uh, Good people.
And you received many awards there as well, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I know. Well, I took Jensen one year and they gave him some kind of award and we were walking down under the big hotel and the walkways and all that, and he goes, oh, just another award. And I looked at it and goes, well, man, I'm thankful for anything anybody gives me. Yeah, so you just got to watch things like that when you got to watch your ego at all times. You're in creation right now where the negative forces are strong. And that's why I've been saying watch the mind because the mind is getting stronger and it's like, ooh. So
Well,
that this whole thing is a huge spiritual element to it, this whole health thing. It's just the doorway. I work with a lot of spiritual beings and masters out of body. And my job is to wake you up, to tap you on the back and say, remember the now, right? The health is the doorway. We're just using that as a doorway to come into your world. Because if I taught classes for years out of body traveling, sometimes you get nobody showing up, you get a few people showing up. It's a hard way to go. But when you're right into the essence of your beingness, and you're right there at the doorway of life and death physically, or you're suffering so much, that's when things tend to let go, and you tend to, you tend to open up, or you close off and pass and reincarnate.
Actually, on that note, let me jump to a question that's, I think, related to what we're talking about. This is from Thad, one of the moderators that generously gives his time to help the community. One of three moderators, Emily and Carl's as well. So Thad asks, as a highly sensitive spirit, what technique or practice does Dr. Morse do to be love in such a challenging world that's filled with so much evil?
Home. Well, to have some of these deeper, profound experiences in consciousness, nothing can waver you. You eat the negative forces for lunch. You gain a strength about yourself that it's hard to talk about. But when you've had these experiences, nothing can shake you from it. These are very powerful, real. If you thought your experience from day to day here is real, everything gets more real out of body. And the closer you get to pure consciousness, oh, the reality is overwhelming. The alone state is overwhelming. And it's hard to want to be in creation when you've been there before. It's duality's hard.
When I see interviews of a lot of people, they're giving interviews of their near-death experience. Some of them complete skeptics. They all have the same theme, and that is, no matter how much, everyone loves their family, but when they have in their middle of their near-death experience, none of them want to come back.
Yeah, no, I was sent here, so I have to, or so I don't even care. I'll pick up the garbage. I don't care what I do, and I don't care what you call me. I'm here for my mission, and I'm totally grounded, and I don't care. I've got I know where I come from, and I know where I'm going. So I'm here to help.
You absolutely are. Okay. Debbie wants to know, what's your favorite song or music artist?
Holy crap. Well, I like Enigma. I just was turned on to Marcus K of Africa. That guy is unbelievable cool. Blues, but I mean he's really good. Street player, but I mean you can't tell. It sounds like he's in a studio. He's so good.
Wow.
And he's really good. But Enigma, I like new age type stuff, that's etheric. Loretta McKenna, a lot of those type singers and stuff like that. I tend to like the females and the ethericness of that. But I think if I was really wanting to go out, Enigma take you right out.
That's good. Well, in the same vein, both George and also Justin asked the same question. They'd like to know, do you watch, or what are your favorite TV shows or movies?
What's funny is I can't watch movies anymore. I can't watch another drama on top of a drama on top of a drama. I can't watch movies anymore, and especially anything violent. I couldn't even watch Lord of the Rings. There's so much violence in that, so much focus on the negative forces that, because I just get inside of me this, because I'm here to take care of that, and so it gets me. I can't handle it. TV, I don't watch much, believe this or not. I watch live PD, cup shows, stuff like that. It's reality stuff.
Right.
History Channel, Discover Channel, kind of the cool stuff. My wife is a Bigfoot freak and a UFO freak. We've seen them all. We've seen UFOs and we've seen shapeshifters. We've seen all these things. And so we're fans, but we're also, keeping one eye open because not everybody's good.
Right. And you know, it's interesting. I remember quite recently, about a year or so ago, I was talking to a group of people, and we were talking about violence on TV, and something came to me, and I said, and I didn't really know what I was saying, but I said, watch it because it affects you, even if you're aware, it affects you in a way and opens doors, and it changes you just for that moment. It changes you, and it opens you up to things you don't want to be opened up to.
Yeah, when you're sitting there watching TV or sitting there listening or whatever, you're just opening yourself up. Your doors are open. So the mind is clicking and registering things, whether it's factual or not. It doesn't matter. If it's in creation for the mind, it's fact. So it's just categorizing and placing and, being like a library. So you just have to be careful what you let in. And Hollywood over here is constantly putting out kill 'em up movies and, Bruce Willis type of movies and those sort of things. And they're not real. Hanging on a train on the side of a train going 200 miles an hour, it's not real. And when one of the kids that were shooting up some of the children in Columbine, he was shot. He was crying while they were taking him to the ambulance. He said, "I didn't know it hurt." Yeah. So that's the kind of reality people are growing. All these little, I don't know, games and stuff where killing people's real easy. So it doesn't seem like there's anybody suffering really. It's just a game. But in reality, we're in a war right now. You guys especially are really beside them, and this could turn real big.
You know, I had a friend, he's not with us anymore, or he's
Uh,
moved on, and he was a Vietnam vet. And I
yeah,
remember years ago him telling me about video games, and he was saying, and they just think you die and you respawn. He said,
it,
and it's hell on earth.
yeah. It. I was lucky. I didn't have to go to combat, so I wasn't a combat vet. But I stayed. They needed a draftsman stateside, so I was Air Force. I was a draftsman in the Air Force. But it's sad to see, though. Sad that I have friends blown up from bombs, and I had friends that were bomb sweepers. And I mean, just it's horrible. War is horrible, and there's so many low states of consciousness on this planet. It's regurgitating. This planet hasn't learned. And it's still back in the dark ages. This is why they've been farming us, they've been mining us, they've been doing all kinds of things with us. And the grays probably changing the looks of humans. So there's a lot of things. Humans have just got to power themselves and wake up and realize. And there's so many of them, like horses. We used to put blinders so nothing would scare them when something passes them. Yeah, a lot of humans are like this. And it's like, take these blinders off and start opening up to reality here because a lot of tough stuff, tough stuff.
Do you know what? You just reminded me of something that I've been thinking of the last few weeks and or longer. And that humans are, we act like we're not from this earth. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that's because we're not. But we don't live in accordance with the laws of this earth, do we? We create these
Right.
boxes we call houses to protect us. We don't eat what we're supposed to eat. We don't even know, right? We argue about what we're supposed to eat. We write books on it.
Oh, it's crazy. When you think of it in your perspective and what you're telling me, it's crazy when you look at it that way.
Yeah, as long as you use different words, because words trigger thoughts, right? So
Sure.
that's why I say boxes are not houses or homes.
You could argue the fact that you're not of this planet. You can argue that. And I can argue you're not of this world. You are not of the astral or mental worlds. I can argue that all the way up to consciousness. But you're embodied if you're listening to this. Well, not only listening, but if you're able to watch it. Because I always have beings in my office here. You always have the unembodied listening in the astral worlds. But you do have a physical embodiment here. You have to walk with the laws of the world. And the problem is there's such this agenda among humans. It's like the Republicans couldn't decide on a head of the House. And this Steve Calise or something, he's just such a good guy. He was voted in, but then he declined it and said there's too many people with agendas here. And that's the problem. Everybody's got an agenda, but what's good for the whole, good for the one here. So, one group wants this whole group dead, and this group over here wants that group dead. And, as long as you have that, you'll have a warring planet. So either this planet get their shit together, you either go through World War III if you want, blow each other up, whatever you want, because the globalists are going to kill you if you don't. They'll try the vaccine again. They'll try this again. They'll try that again. So everybody on this planet is not really wanted here by so many other forces. Even the reptilians, they don't want humans here. So you've got so many things against the Homo sapien. It's not even funny. And the Homo sapien is just walking up like a friendly little dog. Hey, let me pat you. Oh.
Rod, going back to music, Rod would like to ask you, what musical instrument do you play? What's your favorite?
12-string. 12-string guitar. I'm an organ player too because I grew up with that. But 12-string, I'd have to get my fingers. My wife found me a Vox 12-string acoustical electric guitar about 25, 30 years ago. I wish I'd never got rid of that. But I've been I've dedicated almost 90% of my life to this.
Wow.
No time for anything else. It takes a lot to write and to put together everything that you've seen me do. It takes a lot. And we got a lot planned, as you know. We've got a lot planned coming up that's even more exciting still. And so I'm excited.
Okay, I'm interested where you're going to go with this one. So Adriana would like to know, can you share an experience that changed your life or shifted your perception? An experience that changed your life or shifted your perception?
Well, a physical experience. I would say that I think most of the experiences that had an impact would be more personal relationship type experiences, when you're leaving someone or something, and the emotional pull that tears you apart and your need to not allow yourself to give yourself away like that anymore. So those sort of things, inner experiences, I couldn't even tell you. I've had so many of them that I think when I moved, I think the most profound experience I had first was cosmic consciousness. And that's a state where everywhere you see, and it's pretty drummed up at that level, but everywhere you see and other beings, you're just one. Everything you see, you're one with it. It's like everybody's the one being individualized, and that's cosmic consciousness. But you're still seeing others as separate, but as one. It's a real thin line between pure consciousness and where the mind and the ego slip in and individualize that. But that is so powerful. It is, you'll never ever be the same. But physically, I haven't, I've had my kidney stones fell out of telephone poles, all kinds of physical things, but mine's more emotional. I hate the emotion.
I watched a video recently, an old black and white video from a CIA experiment, I think in the 50s, and they gave a lady, a participant, or a subject as they call them then, some LSD, and in a glass of water. And she said just what you did. She drank it, and about, I don't know how long later, but they were filming the whole thing. She seemed pretty lucid, but she said she was just in wonder. She said, wow, this is amazing. It's like I can see the atoms of the air, and I'm a part of them, and we're all the same. She said, oh my God, you're the same as the atom. And it was interesting listening to what she was saying. It's almost like it gave her consciousness access to.
I did window pane, which is of LSD. And then I was hitchhiking up north, and I came back in town. Two girls picked me up in a van, and they said, "You want to go to a party?" And I'm going, I mean, I'm a hippie guy. I got long hair, big beard. I'm going, well, yeah, I just got in town. And so they took me to this party, and everybody was drinking mushrooms. I mean, they had Kool-Aid, made with mushrooms. Holy crap, that was strong. But I already got a strong sense of the now, so I don't trip with anything like that. Uh, it brings you in. It quiets the mind to the point where you talk about observation. You see the atoms that put things together. You can see anything you want to know. All the answers are right there. But it's true in the now without drugs. So I learned that I could do the same thing in my awareness as that the LSD offered you. But if you've never had the experience, I don't know what to say about it. I'm not negative on the experience of working with your consciousness in the now.
Robert, here's a difficult one. Somebody called Megan would like to know who's the best assistant you've ever had.
Oh, Meg! I'll have to tell you honestly, truthfully, it is Megan. She reads my friggin' mind, and she's a good balance for me because I've had some radical personal assistants. I had that poor sweetheart. She had a skull tattooed right here. Poor thing. I loved her to death, but she had a rough life. Her mom sold her out at 7 years old, that sort of thing. I'm about helping people that need the help. I don't necessarily hire the best of the best.
Well, I second what you said about Megan. She's the best.
She is so good. And
Yeah.
her opinions, I welcome her opinions because we're about to have some major changes
Yeah.
and move toward that, as you know. And so she grounds me because I'm,
Well, Victoria would like to know, do you have a bucket list and is there anything left on it?
No, I don't have a bucket list. I'm a recluse, so I love to live at home, and there's an endless work at home to do. I just can't even tell you. Megan's brother works for me, and he's the grounds technician because I have some gardens, and I mean it's just always work. I'm always doing electrical or plumbing or something like that. PVC glue, I hate all that kind of stuff, but I like to be outdoors. I was raised outdoors, and I don't like to sit too long, Get out in that sunshine and get that lymph moving. And
I heard Patty. So Patty is, for anybody listening that doesn't know, Patty Lager's one of the professors. Dr. Morse has an online school, and in the description of this video, we'll have all of the details. You can find out more about Robert Morse if you don't know. But Patty Lager is one of the professors of Dr. Morse's online school. And she said in one of the Zooms that we had recently, she said, your body's made to move, right? And it's so simple, isn't it? We're just made to move.
Made to move. Everything, there's really nothing kinetic, or static, or, where it's, not moving. You see a lake once in a while where it's lost its in and lost its out and all that. It's just rigged stagnation. And then when you see stagnation of chemistry, what do you see? Palm scum or the fungus, that sort of thing start developing. Because then when everything stops, everything then becomes rancid. Everything then begins to break down. Because acids are at the main core of all of that. It's just the natural move of acids to be corrosive. Mm. It's just a natural move of chemistry, and we could just call it the natural move of atoms movements. Hey, you want to have a baby? Here's a bunch of atoms, but it came from this tree. It came down, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard for people to understand. You live in a created universe. It's already created. You already knew exactly what you were going to experience before you got here. And it's all those deja vu moments that you remember. You already knew and you saw those before you got here, believe it or not. So you really, almost everything is kind of almost like anyway, but you just have to realize that this is what a pilot would go a touch and go planet, uh, birth, life, and death. You're here just for a short period of time, but the point is you are here to get what you need on your journey of awareness and whatever your individuality is. Because at a certain point when you develop yourself and you've got this higher consciousness and you got that, what do you do? What do you do? And that's where the divine starts going, hey, I need you to do this, or I need you to do that. And that's all inner guidance. It's all inner listening. It's all there. But when you're in pure consciousness, it's just a knowingness. Everything is knowingness.
Kristen would like to know, this is a good question. I like this. What's your life advice for teenagers today?
Ooh,
Where do you start with that one?
Be honest, be humble, have integrity, and know that what you do now is your future. So build on that. Save your money. Don't get into drugs. Don't go down that road. Get into the health and regeneration of your body. Getting into something that's exciting. You want to do drugs? Try out-of-body travels. Drugs, out-of-body travels. I'll take the out-of-body travels because there you're unlimited and you can grow more and more and more. It's a thrill and an excitement beyond what you can, because it's pretty mundane here on the planet. You get up, go to the bathroom, eat breakfast, whatever, go da. Pretty mundane. Survival here is like, okay, I can't even afford to buy bread now. I can't even afford to buy gas for my car or whatever, right? It's getting really, really bad. Then they want to go digital, right? That's a perfect thing for the World Bank to push a button like, boom, no money, huh? Yeah, I mean, it's interesting survival times.
In your electric car, right?
I would have, listen, there wasn't just the kids and all that crap involved. I heard they found or opened a new lithium mine in America, but I don't know. There's a pollution out there a lot of people don't realize. And if you've ever lived in the woods by yourself and you come back into civilization, you hear the pollution. And we have a serious noise pollution problem. And that comes with gas, that comes with all this. And not that I'm opposed to it, but everything in its time. But if you're going to do that, like they passed this multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure bill, none of it's going to set up electric charge stations. It's like, well, if you want us to have electric, and I don't mind electric, Ford dealer friend of mine gave me an electric Mustang to drive for the day. He said, "You're have some fun in it." It was fun. And it wasn't loud. There was no noise, and so I didn't mind that.
They're powerful, right? I mean, they're more powerful than...
Oh, very powerful. Very fast. My son likes to try to race them. He's got this race truck, and he's always racing these Teslas and stuff. But, so I don't mind any of that. But then you've got your situation with the kids in China. You got all this kind of stuff like that. And you've got to take all that in consideration. So there's a big push now for propane again. I drove phone trucks back in the early 70s with propane power. And we've got so much gas in this country that we're always farting.
Justine asks, did you play any sports in your youth?
Basketball.
Really?
But no, because excuse me, the basketball, see, in Indiana, there was really no football growing up. That's what you did in the backyard at Thanksgiving. Basketball, Bobby Knight just passed, but the basketball was serious business. There was always fights in every game with Indiana, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois. So these were serious games, but it was always basketball. And so I always loved to play basketball, but I'm not really into sports. I don't watch them. Sitting there, boring baseball, right? Everybody's chewing on something. And then you've got basketball is okay, running the ball down the court, and everybody hitting a little rim, okay. Then you got football. Everybody's trying to break everybody's neck on that. Then it's just like running a little ball down that way and a little ball down that way, and it's like, okay. So so I'm not opposed to it, but I'm too busy to make sports something that's, and then it's competition, one guy over another. Miami Dolphins I've got in my family Miami Dolphins and the Texas Cowboys. Oh, and I think there's Detroit somebody, Giants, something, I don't know.
Okay, Marta. Marta would like to know, do you know where your ancestors came from? What country in Europe, for example?
France, Italy, and I think where's the other one? I don't know. I had that
Family tree?
anything done,
Ancestry?
a little bit of that, all that sort of thing in my line. Morse is French. I've got a lot of the Welsh type of where am I trying to think of? Yeah, I'm fair skinned and freckled, that sort of thing.
What has been, Sinclair says, what has been
Sinclair? What are you doing, Sinclair?
Sinclair said, what's the biggest lesson in this lifetime? What's been your biggest lesson in this lifetime?
I got poisoned seriously with herbs, experimenting with herbs, seriously poisoned. And took me a lot of years to overcome it. So it was a lesson on tentacles and being smart with them and knowing what you're using, and don't ever believe what you read in books. That's the problem that Westerns have, with that poor herbalist that's got there. Poor thing hasn't had enough years, in a clinical setting to get savvy on it. And, you got to have it, because it's a huge difference between what you read in a book and what the reality of it is. And my thing has always been tissue regeneration, right? Especially neurological. You know that one. Sure. So this one Peruvian bark is in Christopher's book.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder all times, get that the heck out of it. It's Peruvian bark, and it's where you get quinine. And quinine is a very serious neurotoxin. And that was rough. That was rough. But I've had kidney stones, pain like that, and different things. Yeah. But when you can't breathe, and it shuts down the autonomic. So when you go to breathe, you can just sit here. I could talk to you and just sit here and pass out if I didn't make myself breathe. We breathe autonomically. We don't think about it. You just breathe and you're going along breathing. Imagine if that automatic part of it is gone. That's what it felt like. It's horrible. Oh, brother. But I worked out of it. I mean, I went total fruit, but that was tough too, because then you got detox symptoms of that too. And it's like, oh man. So I don't advise, stay with what the herbs that we're looking at. I played with them for so many years. I've taught classes, people, we're pretty gross with those herbs. But when you start getting outside of those herbs you see in my formulas, even bloodroot and poke, you have to be careful with the gross on that, because higher dosages put you down. And it's funny, in a lower dose, an herb will do something. It's kind of like lobelia. In a lower dose, it's a great antispasmodic. I have it in our antispasmodic. In a higher dose, it makes you throw up. And I used to make people throw up. When you have COPD, or you're so congested you can't breathe, and you're in a detox and it's all breaking up, you can't breathe, if you can get that person to throw up, it'll compress the lungs and all this mucus will come out. So I've done it. I've done it, believe it or not. And so I use lobelia. And so that at one level, it's a great antispasmodic, and another level, it'll make you blow.
It's amazing, though, isn't it? It's amazing that these tools are there.
You just got to know what you're doing with them and how to use them if you want to play that game. Being a naturopath is rough. And a lot of you guys out there that are helping all these people, you see how rough it can get. The cases, it's just about the cases. And some cases, these people respond and go beautifully. Other cases are like pulling your teeth out. And then some are just so far advanced, it's sad. It's really sad.
And you call detoxification, regenerative detoxification, you call it an art. And I remember that story you tell of that one guy that was doing everything right and it wasn't working. And he was doing everything right. And then I think you went to his house and he lived above or near like somebody that was just deep frying stuff all the time.
Yeah. He was from Jamaica or some country. And some of those guys live in houses with 3 or 4 families, where you have everybody stacked in the house. And this is one of those cases. And I just got out of my car and the oil just surrounded me from the street, not even close to his house yet. And I knew immediately what the problem was. I knew immediately what his problem was. You've got to look at everything around you. Turn on good music. Look at the beautiful colors, because some of these people are so advanced. Plus, their attitudes have been warped. The AMA has warped them by this experiment, that chemotherapy, radiation, whatever, lie after lie, and everything else. And so they don't know what. Poor souls are sitting there. They're confused. They don't know what. They trusted too much. So I feel like we have a very serious job to do, all of us. And that is to help wake up this planet. But if not, it's just a rock spinning through space, and there's plenty of them. But it goes to a deeper meaning of the divine experiencing and expressing itself. Because take away the forms, it's still the divine expressing itself, learning on itself. So everything you're going through, it's learning on it, just like you're learning on it. So just remember, you're an expression of that. And so you try to always express yourself in the greatest way possible,
Emily, the other one of our moderators, who does a wonderful job. Emily's awesome, and she would like to know, what's your favorite healing crystal? Your favorite healing crystal?
Uh-oh.
Do you have one?
I'm afraid to take you on a tour around my house because I got one coming in now from Micah that's 700 pounds. It's a rose amethyst. And I've never seen rose amethyst, but they're incredible. And then at lunch, he just showed me this round sphere of a ruby amethyst with gold in it. And so they're just beautiful pieces. You know what? I'll be honest with you guys. Don't get upset. I get my power for the divine. I don't get it through crystals. I don't turn to anything physical, emotional, or mental for my source. I get my source right from the source. I don't need a rock, crystal, whatever. Beautiful, a lot of energy, great, love you. But you got to be the power, or someone else will be.
And that goes with everything, doesn't it? That goes with because something that I think of a lot is that our empowerment's been stripped away, right? And we're scared to, especially in the last 3 years, 2 or 3 years, we've been bombarded with trust the experts, trust the experts. What they're saying is don't trust yourself, right? That's what they're saying. Right.
Trust the experts. The dumbasses of the world. Sorry. You want to do a frank one, I can be really frank, because these people have just out. I'm one of those guys that like to take care of business, and you've got these guys out there wanting to genocide this planet. Those are the people I'd like to take care of business with. But, that's one side of me. And I'm sure each and every one of them feel the same way, Can't sit there and want to terminate a whole planet. These people need to be locked away. They're insane.
think they will be.
Yeah, they
I
will
think
be.
they will be.
Horrible. But, I have crystals all around. I have some very big crystals at home that are 6 foot tall. Uh, and I can feel the energy from them, but you've got to have more energy than a rock. You're the divine expression. So is the crystal, but you are too. And your advancement. You remember, you're in a Homo sapien body. Take a look at all the different forms on this planet. You about sit in the most superior form of them all. And look what the people are doing with it. Like you said, they're eating dead animals. They're eating crap that no one else would eat. No one wants to eat good fruit or anything. People don't, then everybody has their alcohols. And I mean, the human state is a grungy state. And the humans need to respect their forms more and, learn who they really are a little more and, start giving each other hugs instead of like, yeah, let's get rid of that whole group of people over there, or let's get rid of that whole group of people. What? Yeah.
I remember there were some guys a few years ago, a couple of guys in London that went to the city of London and they quietly didn't say a word. They just held up a placard and all it said was everything is okay. That's all it said. And the amount of times the police went up to them, what are you doing? Breach of the peace. They were recording the whole thing, right? Just to get a reaction. But the police, what are you doing? Got no right to do that. And all it said was everything is okay. And they weren't saying a word.
Yeah, they're doing that over here. Some lady was praying at an abortion clinic and they arrested her, and stuff like that. It's like, come on, the lady was standing in public property being trite to herself. Who cares what she was thinking? But that's that Tom Cruise. We're going to get you that's in your mind before it manifests physically. Remember that movie? I forget what it was, but if you're thinking, we can detect it, and we're going to arrest you and try you on that before it manifests physically. You could, because it's always from the mind first. If you can't think it, you can't create it.
Okay, I do have a detox question from the third of our magnificent trio of moderators. Cars is a software engineer, and he said, any tips for someone trying to combine the life of a software engineer and detoxification specialist?
Ooh, yeah, watch the radiation. Oh my God, I would think that would be one of the big things. But I don't think it really matters what you're doing as long as you feel like you're able to express your inner joy, but it feeds you back. It gives you back a growth factor, an awareness factor. Or why are you doing it? Just for the money? And like you can do anything just for the money, but you want to spend lifetime after lifetime doing things just for the money? Why are you here? There's so many things to explore, and you might be bored in this particular planet, but remember, your ability to change your focus and your attention is at any time. You can move your attention away from where you are right now, physically, anywhere you want to. That's your free will. And your body can't always follow you there. Now, maybe Malarapa and some of these people could change the atomic structure of the bodies. There was always that out there with Malarapa and some of these extreme beings. But as a rule, the average person, I don't think even Sai Baba could change his physical cellular structure. He can, I hear, manifest astral pieces. But we're right there anyway. We're right there at that astral doorway. Now, you notice, seems like that door is so more open now than ever before because you're seeing beings that are non-physical. A lot more. That's crazy.
Well, here's the last question I have, actually, and it fits in from Nat. Nat said, have you ever had any extraterrestrial encounters, physical or otherwise?
Out of body. I've seen crafts when I was in Texas. I've never physically had one in physical body. Definitely out of body. A lot of beings. Yeah, a lot of beings. And so, you just got to realize everything you see is This is just one little rock spinning through space. You've got, you can't even count them, trillions of them. You've got beings of every, there's no saying in spirituality, you can't imagine anything that doesn't exist. That's scary. But when you look at the divine in creation, you have two sides to it. We all know that. Call it the yin and the yang, yeah, 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 yeah. But each side is very serious in its effect on you. How negative can you get? How dark can you go? Pretty dark. How high can you go? How light can you be? Pretty light, pretty light. But both of them comes from the divine. So you got to realize something that is so powerful and so amazing. There's not one word that I know of that can describe it. Because when you try to describe the divine, and I just use the word divine because God even limits what you think about it. And the problem is you don't want to think about it because now you limit your experience of it. And that's the difficult thing, is going past that little thought process that initially wants to define what you're looking at or you're trying to get over. So breaking through that, the mind and its definitions is an art. And that's why, you lecture, you talk, go out and put on talks and stuff and learn how to just speak truth. Just speak the truth,
What are you going to do this weekend?
Do what?
What are you going to do this weekend?
Okay. I think I'm going to do me some mushrooms. You know what? I'm working on this bee book, and I've got some plumbing to do, but I'm working on these two bee books, the frugivore book and the lymphatic book, and we're just looking at it now, and I've got a new chart coming out. I mean, there's so many things we're doing right now. It's unbelievable. But when you see what Pat's putting together for the A&P section of the frugivore book, oh, I mean, what I love about higher consciousness people working together like all of us is fun. We get to get new things or bring things out that opens people up and goes, hey, look at that. Instead of the same old thing. That's where I have a problem. Same old thing over and over and over again. No, let's usher in the new.
Robert, it wouldn't be right if I didn't end without saying thank you from probably, well, we know thousands of people that you've helped. And I have the privilege of working with you, and it is a privilege because one thing with you that I sadly is missing from a lot of people is that you're the same on camera, off camera, and I was telling Megan just the other day, all you do is want to help people. That's all you want to do.
That's all I'm here for.
And it is, it's evident. It's obvious.
What's more fun than helping someone get out of trouble?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's so many people in trouble, and if you're not in trouble, well, help someone get out of trouble. I help people in ways that you can't imagine. I mean, I buy my employees new cars. I do all kinds of things to help them so they can make it in life. So that's what I say to everybody. Open it up, give it out. Love's the way, both in personal relationships and everything else. Enjoy each other. Tear it up.
Do you know what? The first time I experienced it, it was 2014. It was at your conference, and it was the first night we were outside, and one lady said, I need to call my husband. Oh my God, where's my phone? And it was our first night, and suddenly, I don't know, Robert, there was about 50 people there or something, and like 50 phones went up, and everyone said, have my phone. And for me, it was almost a life-changing moment, because I thought, God, if the world was like this, if you're in a room full of 100 people and everyone's giving, imagine how much you're receiving.
Thank you. This is why I want to do these seminars. spiritual seminars. And we're talking and trying to set one up down here. We have this new resort that's just starting to open. It's called the Sun Seekers, right on the water. It's gorgeous, 16 restaurants. It's right here in our town. And I was thinking it's time that we have a seminar where we have 2 or 3 thousand of us that feel the same way. I've done seminars where I had 10,000 in them in Eckankar. And when you have that many high beings, oh, it's a power. You just walk around buzzed. The power is just like that, you know. I remember we had a big, huge worldwide thing in the convention center up in Connecticut or somewhere. And the next day after the master left, the roof caved in on it. Huge convention center. And the roof caved in on it. It was like unbelievable. I've seen so many things when it comes to these masters and these beings. And when we're all opening ourselves up and developing ourselves into that, I don't want to say mastership, but it is, you know, a master of your art, a master of any art, right? They call it a doctor maybe, but a master in your art. That's what I love, masters in their art. I don't care what your title is, but are you good at your art? And when you have these spiritual beings that literally can take you out of your body, yeah, they're good at their art, you know. So I'm excited for everyone that's involved because all you have to do is move your attention to the inner and even to some of these Eckmasters, and they'll come get you. You'll start your journey down this road, and then you'll start to see all your past lives. Some of the first things that happen to you is you get to view your Akashic records. And it might be in a strange way, but they'll make you view your all your lifetimes. And then it just your journey just starts, and it's just like you said, everybody just want to hug each other and love each other, and it just makes for everything just incredible. And that's what this planet needs. But to be in a seminar where you have several thousand like that, ooh, I think I could twist Brian Adams' arm. He's a good friend, and if I could twist his arm to come down, you know, he's generally hanging out in the Bahamas. I could get him over here. That would be cool. And then there's that one group that has brought out the detox songs and stuff. That lady, I talked to her before. I said, "Would you please, if I do a seminar, would you please come?" You know, and so we can do lectures, we can do poetry, we can do song, we can do whatever you want to do. We can have workshops of all levels. You know, just all kinds of cool things. That would be fun.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
Yeah.
We are going to do it.
Absolutely right.
As long as I'm still standing. I still got my hair anyway.
There's no need for that, Robert.
I love you, man. It's been fun, you know. I love all you guys that ask questions and stuff. I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm what you see is what you get. You said it right on that. I'm the same out as I am in. I don't have he's this way now, but he's that way. No, I don't play those games. I hate masks. And a lot of people wear masks. You know, a lot of ladies wear masks till they get what they want, then they take them off. Don't wear masks. Be who you are, and you'll get the people you want to yourself. Just be who you are and show that love, and that energy will pull you who you want. But it's a problem when you wear these masks and you try to be something else, and then you have to take them off and be who you really are. And then everybody around you goes, "What?" So don't wear a mask. Be who you are always. And if you don't like how you are or how you feel, change it.
Robert, thank you.
Love you, man.
Love you too.
Always love you.
Thank you.
Thanks. And love everyone out there. Let's work together and have fun and get these people healed on this planet. Yeah. Have a fun weekend.